Arian Foster once said that the NFL was scripted.
Before the season started, would you go and rehearse the script before every game?
We were really dedicated to it, so it was more so like that's what practice was about. It was about practicing the script. Like, this is what goes on, and this is what we have to do in order to. Yeah.
And this referee's going to miss this call.
Yeah,
because they hate you and they love the Colts, that
sort
of thing.
WWF, so it's like, you know, we know what's going to happen, but you still got to put on a show.
He was a 4-time Pro Bowler who retired in the middle of a season. He went undrafted, told a teacher he'd play in the NFL, got arrested in a nightclub, played an entire season with a broken collarbone, was a practice squad player, had a music career, and once said that he could beat a wolf in a 1v1 fight.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen, man.
All coming from a guy who said if he could do it all over again, he wouldn't play football. This is the weirdest player in NFL history, and his story is coming up right after this. Hey, this video is about not giving a bleep. And guess who knows the rules but always ends up screwing our team? That's right, the refs. And now you can have the ultimate coffee that gives the refs the middle finger they deserve. This is not a joke. The refs coffee is actually made from delicious, ethically sourced Arabica beans, and the name says it all. You can order the refs coffee blend from the link below or the pinned comment. Makes a perfect gift. Now, back to the video. Arian Foster was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1986. His dad, Carl, was a former football player, and his mother was a Mexican-American, making Arian available for the all-Latin team roster. Growing up, Arian's father, who signed briefly with the Denver Broncos, actually discouraged him from playing football. His mother allowed him to play at age 7, and Arian once told his elementary school teacher he would become a star in the NFL. Arian would learn that bold statements like that, whether they came true or not, could cause quite the reaction. As a high school athlete, Foster was originally a linebacker and didn't even play running back until his junior year. He set rushing records for Mission Bay Senior High and eventually committed to Tennessee in 2004. Foster's college experience was not positive, at least in his eyes. His freshman year, he fought through a crowded backfield and still rushed for 879 yards. In 2006, his production plummeted, and his shuffling down the depth chart might have had been the result of him getting arrested for a nightclub altercation in Knoxville. However, his junior year would be a breakout as he rushed for 1,193 yards, and many advised him to leave school for the draft, where he would have been a high-round pick. He didn't, and his senior year was a disaster for him. Injuries caused limited carries, and he only rushed for 570 yards. Questions about his character, coachability, and selfishness caused many teams to be hesitant to take him in the draft. And he had a horrible draft day workout. All this added up to the fact that he didn't get drafted at all. Get used to ups and downs in Arian's career. Apparently one team, the Seahawks, did want to draft him in the 7th round, and when they called him, Foster turned them down. And so it seemed that his bold proclamation to his teacher would go unfulfilled. However, the Houston Texans took a chance on him and signed him as an undrafted free agent. His road to the NFL would still have a lot of boulders in it. Once under contract with the Texans, that didn't mean shit. He still had to earn his way to the league. Arian was one of the final roster cuts before the 2009 season, but was immediately signed to the taxi squad. For over 2 months, he patiently waited for his opportunity, which, after a slew of injuries, allowed him to get elevated to the Texans roster. He made his NFL debut against the Titans, but as a special teamer. Foster was used in limited action until week 16 when he scored 2 touchdowns in a win over the New England Patriots. The Texans saw that they had something. And then 2010 happened. Foster beat out Steve Slayton in camp, and his impact was immediate. 1,616 rushing yards, 16 rushing TDs. He averaged 101 yards a game. He added 66 catches for 604 yards. Straight beast. To anyone who drafted him in fantasy that year or got him on the waiver wire, you ate like Lizzo at a buffet. And he did all of this with a broken collarbone. Yes, Foster broke the collarbone early in the year, but essentially hid the injury from the Texans because he was mortified that he would lose his starting job if he disclosed it. So when all of these highlights, Foster is literally grinning and bearing it while his collarbone is probably screaming at him to please take a play off. In 2011, he battled a litany of injuries, including said collarbone, hamstring, and groin issues, all while seeking minimal help from medical staff. As in a 2016 article by PFT, he said he had some bad experiences with doctors. It's probably when they sent him the bill. After 3 outrageously productive NFL seasons, Foster was awarded a 5-year, $43 million contract in 2012, so his absolute insane level of toughness was rewarded. It was those injuries, though, that would eventually add up to the bizarre ending of his career. 2014 would be his last as an elite back, where he rushed for 1,246 yards and 8 TDs. But in 2015, he ruptured his Achilles tendon in week 7, which for a running back might as well be like a horse breaking his leg. He only carried the ball that year 63 times and rushed for 163 yards that season, and the Texans, seeing both his production and contract coming to an end, released Arian when the season concluded. Instead of giving up, Foster worked to get back from his Achilles injury and signed a 1-year deal with the Dolphins. However, in coming back, Foster had lost a lot of the fire for the game, and after consulting both his father and Barry Sanders, he knew he was done. The only thing was, he didn't want to wait till the end of the season, retiring after week 7 and remarking he chose to go finish a book rather than play football.
I was looking up in the stands and I was like, I don't give a fuck who wins this game. Like, I could not care less who wins this stupid fucking game. I just don't care. I just do not care. And I was like, I want to go home and get in my bed and read. I want to finish my book.
Okay, I took that out of context. Foster's body was riddled with injury, and like a lot of things in life, he just knew he was done. But unlike a lot of people, he had the courage to do what he felt was right at the time. He made the tough call to retire in the middle of the season. Not as ballsy as retiring mid-game, Vontae Davis, but still ballsy. And so his NFL career ended having rushed for 6,527 yards, 54 TDs, 2,346 receiving yards, and 4 Pro Bowl appearances. But as you will see, his life post-NFL has been way more interesting than his actual career. Yeah, that's what Arian Foster tweeted, or X'd as we say nowadays, on March 5th, 2017, about 6 months after he retired from the NFL. Unbeknownst to Foster, who had tweeted some wild shit before, this would set off a furious Twitter debate with thousands of retweets and replies. Most people called him crazy, but he defended his logic, stating that he could overcome the wolf's bite and that he had done a lot of research on wolves. And if it were an average-sized wolf, he had a chance. The main crux of his argument is that the wolf doesn't have thumbs. Bro, a shark doesn't have thumbs either. A wolf does have claws. Others cited his injury history and the absurd level of bite pressure a wolf possesses. Look, I'll weigh in on it. Maybe if Arian knows some jujitsu, he has a chance. He would need to be able to neutralize his bite and choke out the wolf. He even says himself that if he can control the neck, he could win, but the most likely scenario is that the wolf gets on top of you and places one limb in his mouth and gnaws it off to the point that you're done and bleeding out. Wolves literally have knives in their mouths, but maybe if you jab the wolf in a pressure point, he'll give. Why am I talking about this? What's crazy is this isn't even the craziest thing Foster has said since his retirement. No, that came in February 1st, 2023, while on his macro dosing podcast with PFT commenter, he very nonchalantly and unflippantly said the NFL was scripted. And this set off another X storm. It's obviously satire, but it played into many of the conspiracy theorists who think the NFL is rigged and that the refs made sure Jerome Bettis got a win and a ring in Detroit, or that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl because of Taylor Swift. Actually, my man Arian might be onto something. The comment directly spawned Tom Grossi's If the NFL Was Scripted series, which is hilarious and once again sparked debate and thought around if we truly are being manipulated by the NFL, which is listed as an entertainment entity, not a sports league. Post-retirement, Foster has released a rap album, appeared in the movie Baywatch, and narrated the documentary Unity. He's an outspoken atheist, an ex-vegan, and an all-around Renaissance man. He even writes poetry, which is probably just to get laid because there's seriously no other reason to write poetry. So maybe he isn't as weird as he comes off on social media. He's a highly intelligent, cerebral person who just happened to be gifted 4.4 speed, great cuts, and incredible field vision. And when he appeared on Joe Rogan in 2017, he said if he could do it all over again, he probably wouldn't play football.
Like if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't have never play football. I'd be a scientist, not even.
But then we wouldn't be spending the rest of the day after this wondering how we would fight a wolf.
When you start thinking about it and breaking it down, I feel like I can.